The first section of this video will cover general watercraft safety information. A second section of this video contains additional and specific safety information for watercraft incorporating some of or all of the following eye control technologies: IBR, Intelligent Brake and Reverse; ITC, Intelligent Throttle Control; and IS, Intelligent Suspension. The information provided here in the first section will support the additional and specific safety information provided for designated eye control technologies in the second section. Congratulations on your purchase of a new Sea-Doo personal watercraft, also called PWC. This is a short video filled with safety information. As a new Sea-Doo PWC user, you're going to enjoy this exciting product that makes summer more enjoyable. Watch this video before using your PWC. In addition to watching this video, take the time to read and follow your operator's guide. It should be kept on board at all times. Also, you must read and understand all safety labels affixed to your PWC before riding. Failure to do so may result in serious injury or death. Know and respect the boating laws. Know the operator age and training requirements for your jurisdiction. BRP suggests that you and other operators of your PWC take an approved boating safety course. These courses are available through your local enforcement agencies. Engine exhaust fumes contain carbon monoxide, which is an odorless and colorless gas. Carbon monoxide can be harmful or fatal if inhaled. Refer to the operator's guide to learn more about it. Riding on the water with your PWC poses certain risks like any other type of vehicle. That's why it's very important to have the skills and knowledge to be totally in control of your watercraft at all times. It's also critical to understand its operating characteristics and limitations. Before heading out for the first ride, you should practice in a controlled, low-risk environment so that you can become familiar with your watercraft's behavior by doing the practice exercises shown in the guide. We'll revisit this in more detail later in this video. The engine of your PWC is directly coupled to a drive shaft, which in turn rotates an impeller. This impeller is in a housing where water is drawn up from underneath the watercraft through the intake grate. Then the water flows through the impeller to a venturi. The venturi accelerates the water and produces thrust to move the PWC. Depressing the throttle increases engine speed and therefore watercraft speed. Sea-Doo watercraft have a steerable venturi at the rear of the boat, controlled by handlebars which direct the stream of water from left to right. This is a key characteristic of all jet drive systems and must be kept in mind when operating a Sea-Doo watercraft. Don't forget, directional control is reduced when the throttle is released and lost when the engine is off. Do not release the throttle when trying to steer away from an object. You need the throttle to steer. Your PWC is equipped with the Off-Throttle Assisted Steering System, also called OTAS. This system provides additional maneuverability in an off-throttle situation. The OTAS system is electronically activated and slightly increases the engine speed in some situations. The steering efficiency of your PWC will differ depending on the number of passengers, loads, water conditions, and environmental factors such as the wind. Keep away from the intake grate while the engine is on. Items such as long hair, loose clothing, or PFD straps can become entangled in moving parts, resulting in severe injury or drowning. Avoid riding in areas with less than 3 feet of water or where there is heavy vegetation at the water surface level. Do not apply the throttle when anyone is at the rear of the PWC. Turn the engine off. Water and/or debris exiting the jet thrust nozzle can cause severe injury. Never stay behind the PWC when the engine is on. When reboarding from the water, it's important that the engine must not run. Something else very important is the stopping distance. Generally, boats have no brakes, so you must release the throttle lever and slow down well before you are near the shore or dock. This is extremely important, especially when moving at fast speed, so be extra careful. Collisions are unfortunate events which result in more injuries and deaths than any other type of accidents for watercraft. As an operator, put all the chances on your side. Behave in a manner to avoid collisions. In this chapter, we will provide you with information about collision avoidance. Scan constantly for people, objects, and other watercraft. Be alert for conditions that limit your visibility or block your vision of others. Operate defensively at safe speed and keep a safe distance away from people, objects, and other watercraft. Do not follow directly behind other watercraft. When you're not alone on the water, avoid sharp turns or other maneuvers that make it hard for others to avoid you or understand where you're going. Do not go near others to spray or splash them with water. Avoid areas with submerged objects or shallow water. Take early action to avoid collisions. Remember, generally PWCs and other boats do not have brakes. Do not release the throttle when trying to steer away from an object. You need the throttle to steer. Ride within your limits and avoid aggressive maneuvers to reduce the risk of loss of control, ejection, and collision. Do not attempt maneuvers that may be risky for you, your passengers, or bystanders. This is a high-performance watercraft, not a toy. Sharp turns or jumping wakes or waves can increase the risk of back, spinal injury, paralysis, facial injuries, and broken legs, ankles, and other bones. Do not jump wake or waves. You may not see a boat or person being towed by it. When crossing waves or in choppy water, the operator and passengers can take a partial up position to absorb the shock. Know and follow all local, state, provincial, and federal laws. Ignorance of the law is not an excuse. It is your responsibility to get informed. Observe and obey all posted speed limit signs and navigation markers. Let's look at the right-of-way rules, which are probably the most important rules of navigation. In all situations, use common sense. A more maneuverable boat should stay out of the way of less maneuverable craft. Sailboats, windsurfers, canoes, and other manually powered boats have the right-of-way over personal watercraft because they're not as easy or as quick to maneuver. Then, when meeting head-on or traveling on the same path as another boat, neither boat has the right-of-way. Both should steer to the right. When crossing the path of another boat, the boat on the right has the right-of-way. The other boat steers clear, altering its course to the right and crossing behind the right-of-way boat. The yielding boat should do everything possible to avoid the crossing boat, including slowing, stopping, or reversing. If you're crossing the path of a boat coming from your left, you should keep the same path at the same speed and should change course only when trying to avoid collision. When trying to pass another boat from behind, stay far from the boat you're trying to pass. You can pass on either side as long as you stay well clear of the slower moving vessel. However, in all situations, if a collision is imminent, you must take another course of action to try to avoid the collision. Try to let the other boater know what you're doing and make your move decisively. Remember, just because you know these rules, it doesn't mean that other boaters are as well versed. Defensive driving is key to safe boating, so always give yourself time to react, no matter what the situation. Before going further, let's talk about some requirements for operators and passengers. Know the operator age and training requirements for your jurisdiction. BRP recommends a minimum operator age of 16 years old. Consider the mental and physical capabilities of the operator and passengers, as well as what supervision and instructions they need during operation. Never ride after consuming drugs or alcohol. Moreover, on the water, it may take less alcohol before you become impaired. Beware of the combination of fatigue and alcohol or drugs. Passengers are included in that rule. Their ability to hold on and pay attention may be impaired by alcohol or drugs. Before lending your personal watercraft or letting passengers ride with you, evaluate their condition. You need to know when to say no. Remember that fatigue alone can be a sufficient reason to stay ashore, particularly at the end of the day. Knowing all the safety information about your PWC is essential for safe and proper operation. You wouldn't hand someone the keys to your car unless you were sure they knew how to drive. Well, the same rule needs to be applied to boating. Your watercraft is your responsibility. No matter who's operating it, it's your responsibility to make sure users are familiar with all safety information. So make sure they know before they go. Respect the capacity of your watercraft regarding the weight and persons limits that are posted. All persons must wear an approved personal flotation device, PFD, that fits them properly. For better protection, PFDs must be correctly adjusted and have the right weight rating. Wear protective clothing. Severe internal injuries can occur if water is forced into body cavities as a result of falling into the water or being near the jet thrust nozzle. Normal swimwear does not adequately protect against forceful water entry into lower body openings of males or females. All riders must wear a wetsuit bottom or clothing that provides equivalent protection. Footwear, gloves, and goggles are recommended. Let's take a look at the primary controls found on your PWC. 1. The handlebar. During forward operation, turning the handlebar to the right steers the watercraft to the right and inversely. Don't forget, directional control is reduced when the throttle is released and lost when the engine is off. 2. The engine start-stop button. The engine start-stop button is located on the left-hand handlebar. Press once to power up the electrical system and press again to start the engine. Press again to shut down the engine. 3. Engine cutoff switch. This switch is located near the handlebar, depending on the model, to allow engine starting. The tether cord cap, also called a key, must be securely snapped onto the engine cutoff switch. Of course, the other end of the tether cord must be attached to the operator's personal flotation device or wrist strap. Keep it free from the handlebars so that the engine shuts off if the operator falls off. Some models come with a normal and learning key. Learning keys are programmed to limit the speed of the PWC and are recommended for less experienced riders. After riding, remove the safety lanyard to avoid unauthorized use by children or others. 4. Throttle lever. The throttle lever is on the right-hand side of the handlebar. Pull on the lever with your finger to increase or maintain watercraft speed. Don't forget, you need throttle to steer. 5. IBR lever. If so equipped, the IBR lever on the left-hand side of the handlebar can electronically command the reverse, neutral, and braking by pulling it with your finger. Refer to your operator's guide for all other controls and instrument information. Perform a pre-ride inspection before each ride to detect any potential problems that could occur during operation. The pre-ride inspection can help you monitor component wear and deterioration before they become a problem. Correct any problems that you discover. See an authorized Sea-Doo dealer if necessary. We'll show you the pre-ride inspection that needs to be done before launching the watercraft. First, make sure you have enough gasoline, engine oil, and coolant. Start your inspection by checking the hull for cracks or other damages. Inspect the jet pump water intake and clean if necessary. Ensure the bilge drain plugs are properly secured. Check both the throttle lever and the IBR lever, if so equipped, for free and smooth operation. If they do not operate freely, do not start the engine. Take the Watercraft in for servicing. Check the steering for free and smooth operation. Ensure the seat, glove box, and front storage compartment cover are securely latched. These next steps should be done when the Watercraft is already in the water or just before launching it. Ensure all required safety equipment is on board and in good condition. Even if the following items may not be required by your local authorities, it makes sense to always keep them on board. A fire extinguisher, a local map, a first aid kit, a tow rope, flares, a signaling device, drinkable water in a plastic container, mooring cords, cellular phone. Periodically check the straps, buckles, and fasteners of your personal flotation device to make sure there are no rips or tears and that the buckles are functioning properly and securely. Check for gasoline vapor odors inside the engine compartment. Do not start the engine or use electrical accessories if liquid gasoline or vapors are present. Consult an authorized Sea-Doo dealer before use. Now you're ready to connect the tether cord to the engine cutoff switch. On the water, don't forget to attach the other end to your PFD or a wrist strap. Start the engine and then stop it by pressing the Start-Stop button. Restart the engine and stop it again by removing the tether cord from the engine cutoff switch. It's always a good idea to practice and get familiar with all controls, functions, and handling characteristics of your PWC before venturing further. First, attach one end of the tether cord to the engine cutoff switch and the other end to yourself using your PFD or a wrist strap. Start the engine and find a suitable area to practice and perform the following exercises. It should be an area without obstacles like other boats or buoys. Start at a slow speed, make circles, figure eights, and release the throttle. Then, increase your speed and repeat this until you feel comfortable. When you release the throttle, the engine returns to idle speed and the Watercraft is gradually slowed by water drag. It's a good idea to get a feel for the stopping distance at different speeds. Do not completely release the throttle when trying to steer away from an object. Remember, you need throttle to steer. Practice docking using the throttle, the IBR lever if so equipped, and the steering to become familiar with the response of the PWC and develop good control skills. Learn how the PWC operates in reverse and reacts with steering input. Always perform this exercise at slow speeds. A manual reverse is available on some models. While it is particularly useful when docking, it is not a brake and should not be used as such. If your Watercraft features include the ski mode and cruise control mode, it's a good idea to practice setting them first when you are alone. Use the mode and set buttons for settings. Refer to your operator's guide for more details. The ski and cruise control modes are not an automatic pilot. They will not drive for you. Each operator has a responsibility to ensure the safety of his passengers and of other water users. Ensure that any operator and all passengers know how to swim and how to reboard the PWC from the water. As a driver or passenger, you need to be ready to fall in the water. If you're not comfortable with that idea, stay ashore. Ensure that the number and weight of the occupants does not exceed the boat capacity. Never ride with more passengers than the boat capacity, even if the total weight would be under the limit. All passengers must sit behind the operator to avoid loss of control and severe injury for driver and passengers. Passengers should be tall enough to touch the footrest firmly on each side and be able to hold on properly. Do not bring a passenger or ride as a passenger if those requirements are not met. If you are the passenger, learn how to properly hold on and make sure you hold on. The PWC is equipped with grab handles and a seat strap. As well, you can always hold on to the person in front of you. Make sure your passengers are ready to ride before applying the throttle. They need to hold on when you start and accelerate. Severe internal injuries can occur if water is forced into body cavities as a result of falling into the water or being near a jet thrust nozzle. Never apply the throttle if a passenger is in the water at the rear of the craft. You could expose them to the jet thrust. To reduce the risk of injury, everyone must wear a wetsuit bottom. While riding, maintain communication with your passengers about what is going to happen next. As a passenger, you can help the operator if you maintain your balance and anticipate maneuvers and waves. Tell the driver to slow down if you are uncomfortable or feel out of control. In case of capsizing, to return the watercraft upright, ensure the engine is off and the safety lanyard is not on its post. Then, refer to the label on the stern to find the information on how to turn the watercraft right side up. Grab the inlet grate, step on the bumper rail, and use your weight to rotate the watercraft in the direction shown on the label. Follow the next instruction to reboard on the boat. Do not attempt to start the engine if the boat was capsized for more than 5 minutes. This can damage the engine. Get on from the rear by gripping the handle or the top of the seat and pulling yourself upward until your knee can reach the boarding platform. Grab the seat strap and bring your feet up to the floorboard. The operator should board first, with the passenger holding onto the side to steady the boat. To maintain balance while the passenger boards, the operator should move as close to the console as possible. Never use the jet pump components as a support point. Do not start the engine until the passenger is seated. Then connect the safety lanyard on its post and make sure the other end of the safety lanyard is still attached to your PFD before starting the engine. Check the surrounding area for traffic. Press start and you're on your way. Tow sports like water skiing, wakeboarding, and riding a towed inflatable apparatus are some of the more popular water sports. They require a bit of training and know-how. Always check local and state regulations regarding any tow sports. Observe towing speed maximums on accessories. When using a personal watercraft for tow sports, always have a spotter, as the driver cannot maneuver the boat and watch the person being towed at the same time. Some states and provinces require a spotter by law. On a personal watercraft, the spotter should face the rear, using the rear grab handle for support or wakeboard pole handle if so equipped. Since you need a place on the watercraft for a spotter and for the person being towed, which will likely ride back to shore on board, you can only practice towing sports with our 3-seaters. When you are close to other boats, make sure they see your rope and your tow, and always be ready to react if they don't. Avoid congestion. Hand signals are key to enjoying the water safely. Everyone on board should be familiar with them. Here are some generally accepted basic hand signals. Slower, faster, speed okay, stop, back to dock, okay, fallen skier, watch out. Anyone being towed, whether riding wakeboards, water skis, slalom skis, or tube, must wear an approved PFD and a wetsuit bottom to protect from water intrusion injuries. When the individual being towed falls, keep them in view, staying a safe distance away. Circle slowly to get the tow rope to them. Do not pull the tow rope in front of other boats, and be careful not to run over the rope with the PWC, because it could get trapped in the jet pump. We have seen the pre-ride procedures, but let's not forget the importance of post-ride procedures. It is recommended that your craft be inspected by an authorized Sea-Doo dealer at least once a year. The dealership's professional technicians will be glad to answer any questions you may have to keep your boat running at peak performance. Just like with any motorized products, scheduled maintenance must be performed. Although your authorized Sea-Doo dealer is the best place to go for all maintenance, there are some simple procedures you may want to do yourself. If you choose to do so, always refer to your operator's guide for proper maintenance schedules and procedures. So that concludes our first section regarding general watercraft safety information. We invite you to watch the second section, detailing eye control technologies. Before watching this next section, it is important to review and understand the information presented in the first section of this Sea-Doo safety video. This second section contains additional and specific safety information for watercraft equipped with some of or all of the following eye control technologies: IBR, Intelligent Brake and Reverse; ITC, Intelligent Throttle Control; and IS, Intelligent Suspension. When starting your engine, the reverse gate moves into the neutral thrust position automatically. To engage forward momentum, simply tap on the throttle lever. To engage reverse movement, squeeze the IBR lever on the left side of the handlebar. Although most watercraft have no means of braking, as commonly referred to with land-based vehicles, advanced technologies now permit us to offer models that are equipped with a braking system called IBR. This system uses the reverse gate to control the direction of a calibrated amount of jet thrust, which provides a braking mode that actively reduces the forward velocity, or a reverse mode, which induces a rearward movement to the watercraft. When pulling on the IBR control lever, while the watercraft has some forward speed, the braking mode will engage and generate a deceleration proportional to the exerted force on the IBR lever. The more you pull on the IBR lever, the greater the braking force becomes. Be careful to gradually actuate the IBR lever to adjust intensity of the braking force and simultaneously release the throttle lever. To disengage the braking mode, simply let go of the IBR lever. This active braking can significantly reduce the stopping distance of the watercraft. Under ideal conditions, experienced operators were consistently able to reduce by approximately 33% the stopping distance of a watercraft equipped with an IBR system from an initial speed of 50 miles per hour or about 80 kilometers per hour. Stopping distance will vary depending on initial speed, number of riders, load, wind, current, and water conditions. Practice braking maneuvers in a safe, traffic-free area to become familiar with stopping distances under various conditions. Even with the IBR system, always use vigilance, especially when heading towards a swimmer, another boat, or any fixed object. Reduce your speed early and change your heading to clear the obstacle in case you run out of stopping distance. The brake feature of the IBR system is different than that of conventional braking systems found on most land-based vehicles. It cannot prevent your PWC from drifting due to current or wind. It has no braking effect on the rearward velocity. Also note that your engine must be running to be able to use the brake. When operating an IBR-equipped watercraft, be aware that other boats following or operating in close proximity may not be able to stop as quickly. When at speed and the brake is first applied, a plume of water will shoot up in the air behind the watercraft and may cause the operator of a following watercraft to momentarily lose sight of your PWC. It is important to inform the operator of a watercraft who intends to follow in a convoy formation of the braking and maneuvering capability of your PWC, what the plume of water indicates, and that a greater distance should be maintained between both of you. When braking, riders must brace themselves against the deceleration force to prevent from moving forward on the watercraft and losing balance. The operator should always keep both hands on the handlebars, and all passengers should maintain a firm grip on the handholds, seat strap, or the waist of the person in front of them. When pulling a tube, skier, or wakeboarder, be aware that the person in tow may not be able to avoid the towing PWC if it stops suddenly under aggressive active braking. To avoid this, proceed with only as much braking as required, or follow the spotter's instructions. Learn more on how to use the IBR system in various conditions by reading your operator's guide. Pulling the IBR control lever all the way in while the watercraft is almost stopped engages the reverse mode. To control the rearward velocity of the watercraft, use the throttle lever to increase or decrease the engine RPM. To stop the rearward movement, release both the throttle and the IBR levers. Once the IBR lever has been released, the reverse gate defaults to the neutral thrust position until the throttle is reapplied and forward movement is re-engaged. Practice docking using the IBR and throttle levers, along with the handlebar, to become familiar and develop good control skills. Be aware of the reverse gate movement when starting or shutting down the engine. Automatic movement of the gate may squeeze fingers or toes of people taking a hold on the back of your PWC. Watercraft equipped with intelligent throttle control allows the operator to set a maximum cruising speed or a slow speed mode. To engage the cruise control mode, depress the throttle lever until you attain the desired maximum speed. Then, push and hold the cruise button for approximately 1 second. Once cruising speed is set, you can fully depress the throttle lever, and the speed will not exceed the maximum setting that you just programmed. Slowing down is a matter of releasing the throttle lever further than the set point. To deactivate the cruise control mode, pull the IBR lever, or press the cruise button once again and fully release the throttle lever. As you proceed under a constant cruising speed setting, keep your attention level up to maintain good situational awareness. Cruise speed can be adjusted using the up or down arrow buttons on the right handlebar. Reduce your speed if you or your passenger feels uncomfortable. The intelligent throttle control also allows for a slow speed mode, where the driver can adjust and set the idle speed. This is useful when operating in slow speed zones, where the driver must be especially attentive to possible obstacle avoidance. To activate this mode, first engage the forward movement by tapping on the throttle lever, then press and hold the cruise button for more than 1 second. Rate of speed can be adjusted by pressing the up or down arrow buttons. Should a situation arise where the operator must stop or accelerate quickly, the slow speed mode can be disengaged by pulling the IBR lever to brake or by depressing the throttle lever to accelerate. Consult your operator's guide for more details. Watercraft equipped with the intelligent suspension, called IS, are designed so that the riders sit on what is known as the upper deck. The suspension system allows the hull to move independently of the upper deck, smoothing the ride as the watercraft travels through rough water. Although the system absorbs part of the vertical forces and therefore reduces the impact force to the body, it cannot eliminate it completely. To prevent you or your passenger from being bounced around and eventually being ejected from the watercraft, reduce your speed. Avoid riding in very rough waters or practicing extreme maneuvers like jumping wakes or waves, as this could result in serious injuries or death. The suspension system provides an auto and a manual mode of operation. Consult your operator's guide for more information. When the upper deck is raised above the hull, it proportionally elevates the center of gravity of the watercraft higher above the water. When performing certain maneuvers at low speed, the watercraft's risk of overturning can increase. The more riders or weight on the upper deck, the more unstable the watercraft may become at slow speeds, or when completely stopped. In auto mode, the suspension is programmed to automatically lower the upper deck under certain conditions to reduce the possibility of overturning at low speed. Consult your operator's guide for more information. The space between the upper deck and the hull must not be used for storage of articles or cargo of any kind. Use only the storage containers provided. Be careful not to allow any body parts in the space between the upper deck and the hull. Injury could occur should the upper deck suddenly be made to move down into lower position. So that concludes our review of important safety information you need to know before enjoying your Sea-Doo personal watercraft. Thanks for your time, and we'll see you on the water.